everyone. So today I thought it would be fun to do a kind of favorite manga authors video, but instead of just listing off my favorite authors, I thought it would be interesting to look at my most read authors and then talk a little bit about if that coincides with my favorite authors list. So I have a list of like 20 something manga creators that I've read from. All of these are creators I've read at least 3 titles from, and for this video, instead of going by the number of volumes of a creator I've read, I went by number of series or titles. So if they've written a lot of one-shots, chances are they're pretty high up on this list. I also created some cute graphics because I didn't want to tear apart my shelf to show you all the manga I've read. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the manga authors that I've read 3 titles from. The first one is Kyoko Okazaki. So from her, I've read Pink, Helter Skelter, and River's Edge. My favorites were River's Edge definitely and Helter Skelter. I didn't care for Pink as much, but I would like to reread it now that I have read her other works, see if I appreciate it more the second time around. Next up, I have Shinichi Sakamoto. So this is kind of a recent addition to this list. I have read, of course, DRCL, Innocent, and most recently The Climber. And for this list, I did include an author, even if I only read 1 volume of their series. I included that on the list just to keep things consistent. Of these, my favorite one right now at least is DRCL for sure. And if you asked me like just my favorite manga author in general, I would probably pick this next one because all of their works are 10 out of 10 for me. So that is of course Takiko Inoue. I've read Vagabond, Real, and Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk being probably my favorite manga of all time. And of course I love Real and Vagabond as well. I love how his works are of course very emotional, but also, especially with Slam Dunk, you get some comedy elements as well. And I just loved all of his works. Next up, we have another manga author that I would consider one that's on my favorite list for sure. I have Akiko Higashimura with Princess Jellyfish, Blank Canvas, and Tokyo Terreba Girls. Speaking of humor, I absolutely love her humor. She's so funny, and her ability to make me care about unlikable characters is fascinating. I love the way she writes manga. And of course, Blank Canvas is a nonfiction work, so we can't really talk about the characters there, but that manga is so relatable, even though I have no interactions with like art. I'm not good at art, but just the main character, or her, the way she presents herself is very relatable to me. So love all of her works. She is so funny. Another one of my favorite manga authors is Paru Itagaki. So I've read Beastars, Beast Complex, and Drip Drip. And when Sonda comes out later this year, I will be reading that one as well. I love how psychological her stories are and how weird they are as well. There's a fun time, kind of goofy, but they also deal with some interesting topics that make me think a lot. So of course I love that. Also with 3 titles, we have Hiromu Arakawa. So I've read Silver Spoon, The Heroic Legend of Arslan, and Full Metal Alchemist, of course. And my favorite, this might be controversial, my favorite is Silver Spoon actually. I, of course, really love Full Metal Alchemist, but I think I prefer the anime over the manga, but I love Silver Spoon. I also like Heroic Legend of Arslan as well, so really great manga author. So that was the last of the manga authors with 3 titles I've read. Next, we're going on to 4 titles. So first I have Shigeru Mizuki. Of his, I've read Onward Towards Our Noble Deaths, Kitaro, Tono Monogatari, and Showa: A History of Japan. I didn't count the art book, the yokai art book, because it's not a manga, it's an art book. There are teeny tiny stories in it, so I almost considered it, but I decided not to count it, but I have read that. He does really great historical manga that are often autobiographical, so I love those. And then also he does a lot with yokai and a little bit of horror manga, so really great creator. Definitely check him out if you haven't. Next up, we have a very influential horror creator. I have Kazuo Mez. I've read 4 of his works, including Cat-Eyed Boy, Orochi, Dissolving Classroom, and my favorite by far, My Name is Shingo. For me, Kazuo Mez is very hit or miss. I love My Name is Shingo, of course, and I enjoyed Cat-Eyed Boy as well. Orochi was my least favorite probably, and then Dissolving Classroom was just okay, but I probably need to reread that one since that was the first one of his that I've read, so I wasn't used to his storytelling style yet, so I will have to revisit that at some point in the future. But there are also some works of his that we haven't had in English, or some that are very out of print, so I don't have access to them. So I will read as many of his works as get released in English, because horror is my favorite genre, and he is one of the biggest names in that genre. So next up, I have Usamaru Furuya. So of his, I've read Lychee Light Club, The Music of Marie, Genkaku Picasso, and No Longer Human, of course. Usamaru Furuya is interesting to me because all of his works are so different, whether they're super gory, messed up like Lychee Light Club, or more kind of psychological like Music of Marie, sci-fi weirdness going on there. He is also impressive to me because he is the only person who has made me enjoy the story of No Longer Human. I've read the original novel, I've read Junji Ito's version, and I've read this version as well. And I really hate the original novel, and I don't care for Junji Ito's version either, but the way that he did this version and the little elements he added, I thought those were great. So yeah, I would definitely read more of Usamaru Furuya. Next up, also 4 titles I've read from Mitsukazu Mihara. So I have Doll, which is my favorite, then Beautiful People, Haunted House, and I See in a Sunflower, which is kind of a prequel to Doll. She does like horror, shoujo / josei. Some of her titles, they're not really difficult to find, but they were originally published by Tokyopop back in the day, so they're not really readily available. Doll is of course about robots, so that's my favorite one, but I enjoy all of her works. I do also have one more that I forgot about, so I should read that soon. All right, now we're moving up to 5 titles. So the next manga author on this list is Tatsuki Fujimoto. So I've read his one-shots, Goodbye Eri and Look Back, as well as his main series, Chainsaw Man and Fire Force, along with the Before Chainsaw Man short stories. Tatsuki Fujimoto is an interesting creator because even though he does some very strange things, I kind of want to read his works because of the strange things he's doing. There are a few manga authors like that I tend to read all of their works just because I want to know what's going on with them, and Tatsuki Fujimoto is one of those. Next up, also with 5 titles, is Nagabe. So I've read The Girl from the Other Side, Eat, Love on the Other Side, Monotone Blue, and The Wise Wise Beasts of the Wizarding Wisdoms. So I've unhauled Love on the Other Side and The Wise Wise Beasts, but the other 3 I've read and enjoyed. I kind of like how Nagabe did The Girl from the Other Side and got people to enjoy his works, and now he's just like, well, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to now, and I think that's funny, so I will continue to read his works. Next up is Asumiko Nakamura. So of her, I've read Utsubora, Classmates, A White Rose in Bloom, Tales of the Kingdom, and Maiden Railways. Asumiko Nakamura is another creator that is very hit or miss with me. I liked Utsubora and Classmates, but Tales of the Kingdom I did not care for at all. A White Rose in Bloom was okay, but the release dates were too slow for me to continue collecting it. But I will read other things by this creator. She is very interesting. Her art, of course, is gorgeous. So next up, we have another creator that I would definitely say is a favorite. She has written several stories that I absolutely adore. So this is Fumi Yoshinaga. Of hers, I've read Oku, What Did You Eat Yesterday, Tamaki and Amane, Garden Dreams, and All My Darling Daughters. Those bottom 3 are all one-shots. And I love Oku and What Did You Eat Yesterday so much. Like, they're both almost 10 out of 10 for me. I love the way she explores relationship dynamics in all kinds, and I love all of her characters as well. And the fact that she can write a huge historical epic like Oku, as well as a slice of life cooking manga like What Did You Eat Yesterday. She's so versatile, and I love her works. Next up, this one I wasn't sure I was going to include because he is just the illustrator and not an author, but I have read 5 works illustrated by Takeshi Obata, so I decided to include him on this list. I've read Hikaru no Go, All You Need Is Kill, Platinum End, Death Note, and Bakuman. I hesitated because Platinum End, I only read 2 volumes of it and I dropped it. And Bakuman, I read 8 volumes of it, and I don't know how I got through 8 volumes, but I read 8 volumes of it and I dropped that finally. So the only one of these I still own is Hikaru no Go. I did own all of these at one point, but I've unhauled all the other ones. I do have all volumes of Hikaru no Go. I really enjoy that one, but of course it's a sports manga, so I was probably going to enjoy it. Didn't matter who the illustrator was. Although I guess that means I should have included Tsukumi Oba earlier because 3 of his works are on this list, but I hate them all, so I'm not gonna do that. So next we're gonna jump up to 7 titles. So my next creator is Moto Hagio. I've read 7 of her works, read A Drunken Dream and Other Stories, They Were 11, Otherworld Barbara, Little Leo, The Poe Clan, AA Prime, and The Heart of Thomas. I've enjoyed all of those except for Little Leo. That's the only one I don't own anymore. But I love how Moto Hagio has kind of this dreamlike quality to her writing, especially in Otherworld Barbara and A Drunken Dream and Other Stories. And I just love it. I also love her exploration with sci-fi. Anything Moto Hagio will write, I will read it. I know there are other titles of hers that we haven't had in English. I'd love to read those, but I know it's kind of an ambitious thing for manga authors to publish because they are mostly older and they're hard to like clean up and bring over, but I'd love to read them. Next up, I've also read 7 titles from Naoki Urasawa. So I've read Monster, 20th Century Boys, Pluto, Sneeze, Mujirushi, Master Keaton, and Asadora. My favorite is of course Pluto, but I've enjoyed the majority of his works. I didn't care for Master Keaton very much at all. He is of course still a fantastic creator, really like the #1 almost in the mystery genre when it comes to manga. Next up, I have Taiyo Matsumoto. So of his, I've read Tokyo These Days, Sunny, Ping Pong, Tech on Concrete, #5, Cats of the Louvre, and Go-Go Monster. My favorite of these is Sunny and Ping Pong. He does a lot of like character drama, character-driven stories, and I really enjoy a lot of them. Next up, I've read 8 titles from Natsume Ono, and I'm not going to list them all. You can see them all there, but I think I've read all of her works that are available in English. I didn't include Aka, the second series, because it's just a direct spin-off of Aka. So that might have bumped it up to 9, but I just left it as is because in my mind, they're kind of the same series. So yeah, my favorite of hers is Not Simple, of course, and I also like House of 5 Leaves a lot. Next up at 9 titles is a manga creator that you can see behind me. It's Shuzo Oshimi, and this actually could have been a higher number, except for I haven't read Devil Ecstasy or some of the other one-shots yet, but my favorites are of course Blood on the Tracks and Inside Mari. Shuzo Oshimi is just so weird, but I love how psychological his stories are. I love how his art reflects the emotions and experiences of the characters. It gets all weird when the characters are feeling weird. I love how he puts so much of himself in his manga, sometimes too much. I feel like he's oversharing sometimes, but it's still just fascinating to read. So I will of course read anything of his that gets brought over in English. Next up, we're getting close to the end. So I've read 10 titles from Osamu Tezuka. I'm not going to list them all. You can see them. But this is not even close to all of the ones that we have available. There are many I still need to read. I really want to read Blackjack, Astro Boy as well, since I love robots so much and I love Pluto. I'd like to go back and read the original Astro Boy story. There are also a bunch of his like random one-shots that I still have on my shelf that I need to read. I feel like his backlog is never ending, which makes sense considering how prolific he was. And I really appreciate how he does a bunch of different genres. My favorites of his are his more psychological thrillers like Mew and Ode to Kirihito, but I also really liked his epic Buddha manga. So yeah, pretty much the most influential manga author ever, and I'm so happy I still have way more of his works to read. And then the #1 manga author I've read the most titles from, I didn't make a graphic for it because it's just ridiculous, but I have read 21 titles, if I counted correctly, from Junji Ito. And that is because all of his works come in like little one-shots and I've read them all. I'm pretty sure I've read all the ones that are available in English. And yeah, what do I even need to say about Junji Ito? I feel like everyone knows Junji Ito. Even if you're not super into manga, I feel like people know who Junji Ito is. He's very silly in real life. While I wouldn't say his works are always my favorite, I do of course love horror manga, so I feel like I need to read all the Junji Ito that is available, and I've done so far. And I will continue to do so in the future. So yeah, those were all the manga authors on my list. I thought this was kind of more interesting than just doing a general favorite authors list. If I did a favorite manga authors, I would have to include only ones I've read like 3 titles from anyway, because if I've just read 1 title from them, I can't guarantee that they would be my favorite if they wrote something else. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like One Piece because I love One Piece. But is Oda one of my favorite creators? I mean, I guess if you wrote one of my favorite manga. But anyway, that's beside the point. If you've read any of these manga authors, I want to know your favorite, or let me know, just in general, a manga author that you've read a bunch from. Please leave those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. But that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!